Okie dokie, here we are. Grumpy Vegan Grandad.
Yeah.
We're live. We're live at last. So we are here with Shawny, who is in Hong Kong, and
Yeah.
it is 11 p.m. Your time there. So you've kindly stayed up. So if she's looking a bit
Yeah.
peaky, you know why. But do you want to introduce yourself?
Yep, I've got my own, did have my own YouTube channel, that Peachy Vegan. I'm from Hull, but like Danny just said, I live in Hong Kong. I do a lot of activism here. So yeah, that's about it really. I don't know what else to say
You
just yet.
put a lot of your life into a few lines there.
Yeah.
What I was going to say is, yeah. So you're in Hong Kong. How long have you been over there?
4 years now. And then I lived it for a year in China before that as well. So I've been out for quite some time.
Right. So what took you over to the east then? What was the draw of China? I mean, it's a place I've always wanted to visit, but what drew you
Yeah.
over there in the first place? What was it? What sort of dragged you over there?
So I was just finishing uni and I had the best time at uni. And I was like, if I just go back to Hull, I'm gonna be so miserable. Like I'm just not gonna be happy. And I'm not gonna find, because there's not much work in Hull, so I'm not gonna find anything that's gonna
Yeah,
challenge
it is. Yeah.
me or sort of improve me in any way. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna see about this teaching English in China. So I did it, and it was a lot harder than I thought it would be because we have really bad English in the West, especially like in the UK, because it's so lazy. A lot of our accents and stuff, right? So,
Yeah.
so going there was a real struggle because I had to really
Yeah.
think about what I was saying to the kids to make
Just
sure
like
they
little
didn't
things like
think
this and that. It's this
exactly.
and that, not this
Yeah,
and that, and
yeah.
it makes it sound
Or,
like one
or
word.
yeah, and I'd always like end mid sentences being like, do you know what I mean? It's like, well, it's sort of like, and you're just mumbling up, and they can't obviously speak very good English, so they're there listening like, I've got no idea what she's saying. um but then I left China because I was like, I'm really homesick, so maybe I will go and give Hull a try. And then I was home for about maybe 4 months, and then there was a drama teacher job in Hong Kong, and I'm much better at teaching drama because that's my area, that's what I've
Right.
studied.
Oh,
So
fellow thespian then.
yes.
Yeah.
So that, teaching drama out here ever since really, which has
Yeah.
been really good.
Well, cool. I mean, let's have a look who's here. We've got I'm Easy Vegan, Medicore, Bev Llewellyn. Hi, Bev. Vegan Ichigo, Rebecca Brooks. Good morning, Rebecca. Is it morning where you are? Of course, Bohemian Bay. How are you? Yeah, so there's a few in now. So, Hong Kong. It's been
Yeah.
in the news quite a lot. What's going on? What's it? Well, okay. First of all, what about COVID? What happened when COVID hit?
Oh,
What was that like?
okay. So actually, Hong Kong's done a really good job at keeping the virus at bay. So as soon as they even had 1 or 2 cases in Hong Kong, they were like, close all the schools, let's work from home. So they put in a lot of restrictions, and it's because they dealt with SARS before and they lost a lot of people to SARS. So they were
Right.
really on it.
Yes.
So they did that, and then we started going back to that happened in January, and then we went back to school in May, and only for a month, and then it finished for summer. But we've just had a third wave of cases now,
Oh,
and
really?
yeah, so everybody's been told to sort of work from home again, and they've cancelled all the summer programs that would have happened in schools. Just
So,
basically got to stay in, and the third wave is much more aggressive than the one before.
really? So,
So,
what sort of gap was it between the second wave and the third wave? How long's
well,
this?
the second wave didn't last very long because we was getting maybe one or 2 cases, maybe 5 on one day, or 0 on some days. So, you know, that was sort of the second wave. It wasn't anything major.
Yeah.
The first wave, we was maybe in the 20s, and then maybe getting another 15 a day and stuff like that. So again, it was quite controllable. And then it just sort of went for a bit, and it's just sort of come back with a bit of a vengeance. But everybody's got really complacent, so it's obvious that would have happened. And as well, protests started back up, so it could have been a little bit to do with that, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I mean, Hong Kong, how big is it? I mean, it's not a massive area, is it? I mean, I know it's part of another country, but how big would you say it is?
Hong Kong, oh God, how big
is it like?
It's also got loads of islands around it as well.
Yeah.
And population-wise, there's a lot of people here. But yeah, I don't know how big I would say it is. It's much bigger. Maybe somewhere in Canada, like Toronto or something. Maybe it's a similar size. Yeah. Maybe still a bit bigger.
So what I'm trying to get at really is it is a small area, really. So you know, the outbreaks, these second and third waves, it would seem worse in such a small area. But you say the protests are going on. So obviously the protests are about the Chinese government clamping down. I mean, I don't like talking about politics, but it is important because I think our government has done a really, really good thing in offering people to come over to Britain, because that's a good thing. Because I mean, a lot of the kids nowadays will think, well, that's a bit stupid. Well, it's not, because we run that country. We put them in a position.
Don't know that.
Yeah, they don't know this. We had army bases there. We controlled that country. It was part of Britain. We can't just give it back to China and then dump all those people who are used to certain privileges in the shit. It's wrong. So, you know, it's like Jamaica and the slavery thing. We give all those people, allow them to come over because of all the work they've done for us, and like the Indians. And it's mad, isn't it?
It's difficult because it's what the British government has done is in some ways it's really good, but in other ways it's really cowardly, because they haven't really offered a practical solution. There's so many people who don't want to move to England and love Hong Kong and want democracy in Hong Kong, and they can't all just go away and fly off to England to solve the matter. Britain needs to stand up to China and be like, hey, we're still in this until 2047, and they won't do that because it's China, right? So this is the thing. I mean, I know Trump stepped up a little bit, but Trump right now in the protests that he's having and what he said about police brutality, but then what's happening in America, it's like, okay, then maybe, you know, focus on your own home first, Trump, and then give orders to China. Do you know what I mean?
Sorry to interrupt 1 second. So David Gardell's saying that my mic's a little bit loud. Is that a little bit better, David? Just give us a shout back, give us a message, because I think he's turning it up to hear you, and then I think that's okay. So he's turning it up to hear you, and then I'm coming in with my booming voice, and obviously mine's a bit too loud. So right, okay, that's better. Right, okay, I think we're cool. So there's a lot of politics going on over there. So so what's the vegan situation like over there? If I was to come over now, if I was to book a flight over and think, right, I'm going to go for a couple of weeks in Hong Kong, would I starve to death?
Oh my God, no. You'd have more options in Hong Kong in terms of vegan restaurants than you would in England. It's got like hundreds actually of at least vegetarian restaurants. And they have like Western food, they've got fusion, Japanese, Korean, all of these, but vegan versions. The only thing with Hong Kong is it's expensive. So if you come and you're gonna eat out all the time, you're gonna spend a lot of money. But the food here, it is quite good, the vegan food, and the options that you have. Supermarkets, it's getting there. You still got all your plant milks, some mock meats, but not many. So, but yeah, I don't feel restricted here at all. Like, I feel like I can go. I have such a pick of what restaurants I want to go to. There's no problem, you know.
So yeah, so Hong Kong, there's a 7.5 million population according to Michelle's friend Google. So yeah, so it is comparatively. It's not exactly.
It's like a social distance in Hong Kong.
Yeah. Well, that's it. It's a very compact area, isn't it? It's like a little outcrop, in it. So
and everyone lives on top of each other.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose it's good in a way because everyone can see everybody. So everybody, if people aren't obeying, you can like see people wandering about. But like somewhere like Great Britain, we can sort of travel around undiscovered for quite a while, can't we? Obviously, I mean, you could come you could come from Hull to Manchester and not even be seen by a camera if you wanted to. If you drove here, it's a little. I think it'd be better in these tight knit communities. But so what? Tell us about your vegan journey. When did it start? What tipped you over the edge? What made you turn into a?
Yeah, I was not anti-vegan, but I was very the bacon jerk sort of person before I turned vegan. Like, I went to, I don't know if you're a fan of Morrissey, but
yes, I grew up with Morrissey.
He always sings "Meat is Murder," doesn't he? And me and my dad went to his concert, and he played that song, and then after it, we was like, oh, we're still having bacon in the morning, no, aren't we? Like, that's who we were, you know what I mean? He still is, but for me, so on that side of things, I've never really thought of myself as much of an animal lover before, but I got intrigued, more like most people, by the plant-based eating, the health side of it and stuff. But I kept eating animals on a weekend, and I was like, I don't feel good when I eat them anymore. So I had to do my own research, and that's when I found Earthlings and 101 Reasons to Go Vegan. And then after that, I was just like, no, you know what I mean? It just wasn't food anymore. So yeah, that's pretty much like
how old were you then?
Vegan. Well, I'm getting on for 3.5 years, so I probably would have been about 25.
Right. So you're still under 30 now?
Yeah.
I'm good at maths. Good at maths.
I've got another year to go. And then
so you hit the big 3 on. So 3.5 years. So Morrissey turned you vegan. That's weird.
No, Morrissey didn't. Morrissey made me make a joke about bacon.
Right. Okay.
He didn't turn me vegan. Although I like his music more now, I understand some of his lyrics, because he has a lot of lyrics in there to refer to meat eaters, right?
Yeah.
And when you watch him do his "Meat is Murder" song live, he's so, you can see, because he ad-libs in a bit of it, where he's like, in your big fat effing mouth is murder, you know what I mean? He gets so angry on stage, and everyone has no idea why he's so angry about it. But a lot of his lyrics do refer to animal agriculture, and I never realised that before until going vegan. But no, I found my own way to veganism, I would say. I wasn't told about it by anyone else. And if I didn't leave Hull, I wouldn't have turned vegan. There's no way. I had to get away from my culture, sort of take a look at myself. Do you know what I mean? Because it's so easy to be a part of a group and think the same way they do and do the same things. There would just not have been any influence in my life. Hull
is one of those towns that is sort of isolated, and once you're in there, you never leave. It's one of those towns, a bit like Oldham. It's like you're here, and that's it. You socialise here, you do what you got to do here. You might have the occasional trip out and go to Leeds or something like that, or whatever. But for anyone who doesn't know where Hull is, it's like the northeast sort of corner in it before you start going up to up to Geordieland. It's sort of on that end in it, Hull. It's a nice place. Wasn't it the city of culture for a while back?
Yes. And they got a fountain, and everyone was like, oh, we've got a fountain now. And it was like, really? Every other city's had a fountain for ages. We've just got one, you know what I mean?
You've got a submarine, haven't you? Haven't you got a submarine there?
We've got the Deep, is that what you mean, the aquarium?
Yeah. Oh, no, you got a physical submarine. Have I just imagined that? Sorry.
Maybe.
One visit.
I don't know. There is nice parts in Hull, but then of course, like most places in the UK, you always find your other areas where it's like, oh, this is real life. Like,
Yeah.
but
I mean,
yeah,
I've driven through Hull, and I've done some deliveries over there, and I think it looks nice. But then again, when you sort of in somewhere where there's no coast, when you see the sea, it's always holidays for us people who live in big cities. It's like, oh, sea, I'm on holiday. Seagulls. If you hear seagulls, you're either over a rubbish dump or you're at the coast. One of those two things when you hear seagulls.
I've fallen again.
Oh, you've fallen off. Stop doing that.
I am. I know. Sorry, my phone's really badly balanced, but it's just gonna have to work.
It's a really good connection. So, mind you, Hong Kong, it's like in China, they're really good with the internet and all that stuff, aren't they?
Generally, we do have some problems with our Wi-Fi, but it's can't complain too much.
Yeah, well, I suppose they need it to spy on the UK and America, don't they? Really, I suppose they need really good internet to do all.
Yeah, well, but Hong Kong hasn't gone that way yet, which is good, but it probably will very soon. Looking at how quickly things are changing.
Yeah. So what's the atmosphere like there at the moment?
It's difficult because you know what, like when you go visit places where the government already sort of controls everything and there's no human rights and sort of freedoms and stuff, you don't notice it as much. Whereas when you're actually living in a city and their rights are being taken away right in front of your eyes, it's really difficult to see, because you see how everybody is sort of really affected by it. And I think people here fight so hard to be able to have what we have in the West, and it makes you realise how much we take it for granted, to be honest.
Of course, yeah.
And like, it's just sad to see that sort of they can just be arrested now just for protesting a peaceful protest or whatever, and that is like, because Hong Kong, one thing I loved about Hong Kong compared to China was that people really did stand up for what they wanted. They protested every Sunday for different things. You know, freedom of speech, I loved having that there. You could really tell the difference between the mainland and Hong Kong. And now I think people are really struggling because the new law, it's so easy for the government to just say, oh, well, you did that, so now you're arrested, because there's no rights in there for people, if that makes sense. So nobody really knows what they can and can't get away with. Feels like there's no loophole to it. And that's the tricky thing. Although people will still protest, I think they're in this fight for the long run. I don't think they're as scared of China as China would like them to be, which worries me, because then I think about things like what happened in China in 1989, which I won't say because in case, like, you know,
don't drop yourself in it. I don't want to see getting taken away on a live stream. That's the last thing.
My mum and dad are really worried because I'm so opinionated. They're like, you're not going to be able to keep your mouth shut, Shawn. Like, you need to come home now. But I'm like, it's not as easy as it sounds. Like, I've got my dog here, I've got my life here. The money I earn here is so much better than I would earn in the UK. So
are you there? I mean, are you? What's your status now then? I mean, are you still visitor? Are you Hong Kong? Can you get a green card?
I'm on a working visa, and then I've got 2.5 more years to go, and then I get my permanent residency. And when I get that, then that means I can sort of have my own business. I don't need someone to support me, like, for my visa.
Is that backed by China though, or is that going to?
It should still be backed by the Hong Kong government by that time, but we'll see. They're always in demand of Western teachers in China anyway. So if Hong Kong turns into China, it won't. The new law won't affect me as much as it's going to affect the locals, and it's just going to be hard if they bring it into schools, and I have to tell my students not to say certain things because I don't like the idea of, like, you know, allowing them to sort of or be brainwashed into thinking a certain way about their government, which clearly isn't the case, right? It's just a bit hard to do that. So that's where my line will be crossed, I think, is if it starts to affect my students and how I teach them.
Yeah, it's a really tricky situation, isn't it? It's not. I suppose you can't sit and relax until. I mean, it's like this case now in the UK. We're being told now we must wear masks in shops, and you can get £100 fine. But I've like I said, I drove up from London this morning, and I went in the services, and there were some people wearing masks, some people weren't wearing masks. It's like there's no distinguishing sort of. Nobody seems to know what's going on, and you can't relax. You don't know what to do. You don't know, it's, and I suppose it's the same over there. But what's the situation with native Hong Kong people and veganism? How does that work over there? Is it a big thing?
It is in some ways, because some of their holidays, religious holidays here, they have to eat vegan for some of them. Because it's more pure. So if I was to speak to a local about me being vegan, I wouldn't get the same reaction necessarily as I would get from speaking to a Westerner. Usually it would be encouraged. It'd be like, oh, that's so good. That's really good that you're doing that, and people are less confrontational here. So the activists that we have here sort of play up to that. So you don't really get many people on the street who would maybe be more direct and like, stop doing this, blah, blah, blah. They'd go about it in a very sort of Hong Kong way. And that can be a bit frustrating for me because I'm like, I must say it how it is, But, but for the activism scene here, they seem to doing quite well getting it out. I mean, it could do a lot better because Hong Kong's a massive meat consuming city. I think it's one of the biggest meat consuming cities in the world. But vegan products are growing here. It's just it's hard because there's such a big population to know really how effective the activism is, I guess, if that makes sense.
I mean, does it seep into government? Will protesting for certain things be allowed, but not anti? Is it just anti-government? What? It sounds like a blanket ban. What, have you tested it yet?
Exactly. I think animal activism will be okay for the minute because it's so small scale. We haven't got thousands of people marching on the streets. We're lucky if we have 50. Do you know what I mean? I think like then we're not a threat at all. It's the same in China. Like I know that they can do earthlings in China, and I know that the Chinese government is actually quite encouraging for the idea of cutting meat consumption. They do want to do that in China. I think they're meant to be cutting it by 50% in 2050, I think, maybe, even though that's too late, but I think that's their plan, which is more than what most places are doing in that regard. But yeah, I don't think it'll affect it yet. I think it will only, if the numbers grow, possibly, but right now I don't think they care. I think they're just like, yeah, cool.
I mean that's my wife, by the way. She's doing a jigsaw. She's since lockdown. She's done about 50,000 piece jigsaws over about £1,000. She's just like jigsaw mad at the moment. So if you're wondering what she's doing, she's not sweeping the carpet with a toothbrush or anything like that. I'm not like a like slave driver or anything like that.
Jeff from Corrie. Have you been watching Corrie with Jeff who's making the X's on the skating boards, and you're like, you haven't cleaned it properly. The X is still there.
Clean that skirting board, Christine. Clean it properly. Oh God, don't do that. He's oh man, he's to play an actor like that though. That guy on Coronation Street, he must get some stick on the streets because
people believe it's real.
Yeah, these lovely old women will be coming up and hitting him with the handbags and everything. The poor bugger.
Yeah.
But yeah. So let's just have a quick. There's a lot of chitter chatter going on here. Let's see if anybody's got anything. Bohemian Bee's Wi-Fi keeps dropping out. UK, those vegan guys have popped on. UK vegan family, vegan pixie warrior. Michelle Lowe. Yeah, there's quite a few on. Dairy Fairy. I'm late to the party. What's up? Is she not allowed to leave Hong Kong? I'll let you answer that one. Someone's asking, are you allowed to leave Hong Kong?
I'm allowed if I want to. I need to see what happens. It's not as easy as it sounds to just leave. I've got all of my things here. I've made a life for myself here. You know what I mean? I've got Sally, my dog, my rescue dog to think about. It's just really not as easy as just sort of going. But if it gets to the point, I think, where it means I have to like change my relationship with my students and how I teach them, and I can't develop their critical thinking and things like that, then yeah, I think that will definitely make me think about it more than I am at the minute. But yeah, it's really not as easy as it sounds to just sort of get my suitcase and go. You know what I mean?
Big Greenie, no, you've got the accent a little bit wrong. She's about 30-40 miles up the road from Leeds, so yeah, it is very similar to the Leeds accent, but 0 marks on that one, mate. Go back to school. Right, so yeah, I'd like to talk about something else that you do that is really, really interesting, and I think it should be something that's done over here. It is your T.I.E, which is Theatre in Education. Which you do a vegan theme on your theatre in education in schools. Is that correct? Would you like to tell us about that?
So it's called Humane Theater, but we're going to change the name to Humane Production so we can add more arts into it. But basically, we go to schools, we write scripts that sort of promote animal rights. Or adapt stories that are already there. So we adapted Animal Farm for secondary school kids.
Oh, right. Awesome. Is it Awesome Wells, that?
Yeah. And we just basically changed the ending and changed some of the lines. But the characters were still very much the same, and why they were there and whatnot. And we always try and include some real footage within the transitions, just so people can understand what we're saying.
Right.
And then we also adapted Alice in Wonderland for primary school students, which was Alice in Our Land. So it was about how we are. So, you know, instead of the Queen of Hearts, we had Burger Queen. We had Tweedledum and Tweedledee, of course, which played your regular carnies. Then we had, instead of a rabbit, we had a bee because of the issues happening with bees at the minute. So yeah, we just swapped a lot of the characters, and the kids that we have probably reached about 3,000 students, I think, on a whole.
What age range?
Well, we mix it up, so we've probably done a performance for every age, or performed to every age. So we've done kindergarten, we've done primary school, and we've done secondary school, and we've done adults. But the adults usually will take the secondary school show and then invite people to come see because we do it all for free as well. So schools will then be more likely to bring us in because, if they can't afford it, then they're not going to get the education. So we do it all for free. And we've had it's interesting because, some of the schools, I think, just read drama and English and go, oh yeah, we'll bring them to our school, and then we come and do our performance, and at the end, especially if it's like a heavily religious school, they're literally like just shocked and thinking, and we're like packing up really awkwardly, like, well, your kid's got the memo, thank you.
I mean, what religion is it over there? What's the dominant religion?
I want to say, I know that a lot of people are Buddhists, but also there's huge sort of demographic for Christianity. So a lot of the schools are either Christian or Catholic. So yeah, it's a bit weird. It can be weird in those schools sometimes because they're really conservative.
I mean, what sort of reaction do you get? Do you get people?
It's a mixture.
Do people turn vegan? Do people question you? Do people ask you?
We do feedback forms at the end of every performance, so we know what what's what basically. And all of them always circle the part that they said they found it educational, and they all say that most of them say that they really appreciate the honesty of the show, because they don't get that from anywhere else.
Yeah.
And how they'll think differently. They do always say they feel differently about animal products, and maybe only a third will say that they're considering going vegan after watching the show. So we get good numbers. They're very receptive to the message. And again, you've got to take it with a pinch of salt too, because obviously some kids will probably rush the feedback forms and just be like, yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the ones who write comments at the end, they usually write something about how they really empathized with the animals. They'll write about how they really enjoyed our performance, so it's really good. It's really effective. And as well, you just reach so many non-vegans in just a space of an hour. Like, you get like 300 kids in your assembly hall. Like, you know what I mean? It's such a good way to get the message out there in schools.
It is because I mean we can talk all day, and I mean being like in theatre and stuff like that, and myself, is that when you visualize things, when things are visualized for you, you tend to remember them more, and it embeds more. That's how people remember a lot of stuff. It is attaching some sort of image to what you want to remember. That's a big thing on these memory guys. And so it is a really. And are all these plays written? I mean, could you?
Yeah, I write them all.
So if somebody in the UK wanted to use your plays and try and get into schools in the UK, could you send them to them? Would you be willing to sort of go for it?
Yeah, I would, but this is my thing as well, because I also want to make sure I can do this full time. So if that was the case, I would have to be a collaborating partner in it. So it'd have to work on my schedule where I could come to the UK and do it too. Just because, I want what I do to be full time, if that makes sense. And if I'm going to just hand out my plays willy-nilly, I won't be able to do it full time as well and sustain myself. I know that sounds a bit selfish.
Well, not at all, no, because
go on, sorry.
No, it's hard with this. There's a tiny couple of second delay, folks. So if you're wondering why we sometimes stop, it sort of, we interrupt each other halfway through, and it's really weird. But yeah, I mean, I do understand that. When you create something, it's. I mean, all right, somebody might want to do it over here, but if you're writing something, you want it to be done correctly. You don't want somebody taking work that has got your name on it and making a right hash of it. So I do get that. Yeah, I do get that.
Yeah,
I mean,
or as well. Oh, sorry. You see it on YouTube too, don't you? Where some people would maybe, I don't know, use other people's content and sort of be a bit dishonest with it. So the smaller YouTubers don't get anywhere because some of the bigger ones are doing the same stuff, right?
Yeah.
If I was the one who gave my play to people in the UK and I wasn't a part of it, like I wasn't collaborating in that project, then and then it goes really well in the UK and they're like, oh, we want to do this and we're going to pay you guys to do this for us all the time, I would be gutted, because this is I really want it to be my life's work. It means a lot to me, this message, and you just gotta, sometimes you just need to be like, okay, I'm gonna do it, you can have it, but I've got to be a part of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. There's a few questions popping up, Shawny. I mean, I've got something else I want to chat to you about, which is YouTube. But let's just have a quick look on here. Right, Fly Vegan. Hong Kong is now a dangerous place. Why are you staying there?
Look, when you live here, you see it for what you guys are seeing in the news and stuff. I'm seeing it up front, and I know where to avoid. I know where not to go. Like at the minute, everything is still very up in the air. They did pass that new law, which again, I'm just waiting to see how it plays out. But yeah, I can't just pack my carrier bag and jump on a plane and go. Like, I've got a job, I've signed contracts, I'm a school teacher, I care about my students a lot. I've got my dog. It's one of those things where I get why people are really concerned about it, and I'm concerned too, and I feel it every day. You know what I mean? Because I'm around people who are going through it every day. But as a Westerner in Hong Kong, I'm very safe with my privilege here.
Hold on a minute there. You're not a Westerner, you're a Northerner. And
a Northerner,
yeah, there we go. We're tough as old boots. We thrive anywhere. We've got this.
But yes, they won't do anything to me anytime soon, just on my privilege, touch wood.
Vegan Pixie Warrior says there is something like this in the UK. I know I'm guessing that she means theatre in education.
I know theatre in the education is, but I didn't know about if the animal plays were being done in schools in the UK.
I was talking to it. Just clear it up, Vegan Pixie Warrior. Just come back. And are you talking about vegan theatre in schools? Is that what you're talking about, please? Do you do any follow-up after the performances to keep in touch with the audience?
It depends, really. We've had some schools that asked us to come back and do another show. But then also we've got some schools that were like, oh, maybe we shouldn't have allowed this, because, you know, schools don't like the vegan message a lot of the times. A lot of the time you do it. So some schools probably wouldn't want us to come back. And it's you know, it's nice to just plant that seed and know that it's been planted, and sort of leave it there and try and move on to somebody else who might not have heard the message before. Or there's so many schools here, you see. So, and we have to work it around our own work schedule as well. So it can be a bit difficult at times. But yeah, we do hope to go back to the schools and do performances again. It just depends on how the message is received by the teachers.
There is a program. Yeah, there is a program running in the UK where you go into schools and talk to kids about veganism with puppets. Okay, so
I didn't know that. Yeah, well, it makes sense. I guess most theatre people, it's like when you play drama games, every drama teacher knows all of the drama games. You know what I mean? So it's like, if anyone does theatre, they're going to think T.I.E. So yeah, it's not an original idea. So that's good that they're doing that.
Bev says, well, see, this is a contrasting statement now. Is a well-established thing in schools, vegan ones, no. So and Bev's in the education system. She's well embedded into that. So that's a bit of an alternative view there. So, weird. Do you speak the language? How are you with the language? Are you
I've
good
tried.
Is it Chinese you speak, or is it a dialect? It's Cantonese.
Yeah, Cantonese is even harder than Mandarin. When I was in China, I managed to pick up a few things in Mandarin, although I can't say I probably remember a lot of it now. But I was sort of forced to learn it in a lot of ways because nobody could really speak English there. Okay. Whereas like in Hong Kong, it's so easy to get lazy with learning the language because most people can speak English here. So, you know, I joined some classes, and at the first couple of classes I'm like, woo, I'm getting it, and then it moves on and I'm like, this has just gone straight over my head. Like, I cannot form a sentence.
Is there a word for vegan?
I don't know.
Shawnny, what are you doing? You know, that is the one thing.
I know. You know what it's so easy, isn't it? When you come from the UK, I don't know if you was the same, but you had a chance to learn a language at school where you could have picked up those skills, but you were like, why do I need to learn a language? I'm not going anywhere. And then you just don't bother. And then the older you get, the harder it can be to pick up a language.
I've tried Spanish. I've been using an app, and I tried Spanish, and I was doing really well, but then you just sort of fall out with it, and because you can't speak to anybody with it, and you sort of lose it. And and then I did look at Chinese, right? But this app, it gives you have to type the phrases as well to embed it. So then I'm having to learn the Chinese language, and it's like, no way. We'll leave that one. We won't be doing Chinese too soon.
Yeah, and you know, with the northern accent, it's trying to learn the terms. So difficult. And you know, one word can mean two things. It could mean like pen and like see you next Tuesday. So you have to really watch what you say.
Oh my god, that is a big difference.
Yeah, so if you turn around and you're speaking to a stranger and asking for a pen and you say it the wrong way, they will most likely be like, whoa, that's out of order, you know. So yeah, you've really got to watch it. You really got to watch it.
It's not like British and loosen and unloosen means exactly the same thing. And
Yeah,
and yeah,
it's so difficult. It really is. I do hope that one day I can, because it'd be such a waste to not be able to do it and live here for as long as I have. But yeah, right now it's just not happening.
yeah. Oh, hang on a minute. Do you perform in local language or a British or a mix of both? That's a good question, actually.
Yeah, and so we do all of them in English, because that really goes well in the schools here. Usually they'll invite native English teachers in, because they're going to do a show in English. So we do it in English, and the kids usually get it. We obviously tailor it to the kids' English level, and we use a lot of visuals and stuff, and theatre's really good for that. We also use a projector screen, so there's ways they can understand it by looking at the projector screen as well. So we try our best with the skills that we've got to get the message across to people who aren't aware English in their first language.
Oh, Big Green is giving us a lesson here. He says, no cow chow is Cantonese for vegan.
Yeah.
Maybe you can introduce that. So yeah, we were going to talk about your YouTube channel, because you've got an established YouTube channel, but it's not very active at the moment. What's going on there?
Yeah, it's one of them, and I think small YouTubers will get it. You know, if I want to be able to sustain myself financially and do this full time, from what I put a year and a half into YouTube. You know, I did a 30 excuses, 30 rap series, which took me ages to write and put together. And, you know, don't get me wrong, it wasn't like amazing, but it took a lot of bloody work. And I thought, well, okay, you know, maybe this will help grow the channel as well, because it's a bit different, I guess. But still, my channel just not going anywhere. It was so slow, and all the effort and time, and I was only reaching people who were vegan, and I was like, I have to look at whether it's an effective, like, you know, use of my time, when I could be doing something like, you know, trying to get in contact with more schools to do performances there, or I'm doing a master's in psychology in September online, so I'm gonna try and do psychology and see how that gets. You'll
have to speak to Michelle Lowe. Oh, she says,
yeah.
oh yeah, because she says those raps were amazing.
Oh,
so
thanks, Michelle.
So you know what I mean. So yeah, I mean, you get this assumption that people aren't seeing it, and you transmit into a very small audience, but I don't think you realise how far and wide it reaches. The amount of times I've copied and pasted someone's video to show somebody something, and you don't get that information, do you really? And I think you underestimate it sometimes.
You do, and as well, you know, there's always a feeling of never being able to do enough, and you know, it can just be really disheartening sometimes, because obviously I can only go off my own views, my own ratings and stuff, and I just found out it was so. Yeah, and then, you know, you get the crap that you get from trolls, and you're just like, oh, who are you? Like, who are you? You pathetic little loser. And you just think, why am I putting myself out there? And the only people who are watching my channel who aren't vegans are like absolute knobs. So it's just like, why do it to myself when I could be doing so much more? If my channel grew faster, I would have stayed. I think I would have. But I've had a year and a half doing it. I've posted consistently, and I've always tried to spice things up. And
you see, that's the thing about it. I mean, this is what I've always sort of said to myself about the channel. I'm not there to make it a paid channel, but I do want to sort of get subscriber counts up to reach more people. But I'm not gonna. I've spoken to a few people about this, and I'm not just gonna post for the sake of it for consistency. I tend to, like, I'm going out with some hunt sabs in August, hopefully, with another filmmaker, and we're going to do a documentary on the hunt sabs.
That's good.
And I'm going to try and I want to try and do stuff that's interesting, not consistent. So I might not do anything for the next 2 weeks after this. But if something pops up or something I want to speak about, I'll do it. But I won't think, oh God, I haven't posted anything for a week. I better post. And I'd rather just post something that's relevant and now and needed, rather than just post all this shit of me talking garbage to the camera trying to make shit up. You know what I mean? So, and like I said, we were talking before about how you've missed. You don't have to necessarily be on a vegan tangent. I mean, we talked about this before we came on air, and all this protesting in Hong Kong, that would have been great news stuff for you to post on your channel, and it would have drawn non-vegans in. And this is what you've got to do. You don't have to be consistently vegan with your output.
No, I know, and I do obviously learn quite a lot of what's going on in the world, but for some reason I've just got no motivation to want to make a YouTube video in it. I guess it's just not right for me anymore. Like, I really want to challenge myself in other ways. Like, I really want to go back into education and really sort of learn a new skill.
Yeah, but do you know something? Do you know something, Shawnny? This has been the conversation for quite a while now. That's where we should be hitting now. That is key. I think it's in everyone's psyche now, adult-wise. Millennials now are apparently the biggest drivers of veganism now. Is that there's more and more millennials turning vegan because of COVID than ever before right now. So I think we've hit the sort of adult side of it. Obviously, it needs going work, but I think the kids need educating on it in the schools. It's a definite. We can't carry on brainwashing the kids. We need to sort of like say, here, this is what the truth is. Make your own decision. Not eat this, it's good for you, when it's quite obviously not.
I know what you mean. Yeah, it's one of those things, I think, and I do really enjoy working with the youth. And you know, they're so easy to have an open discussion with it because they're so open-minded, because they haven't sort of been stuck in the ways. They're not stuck in the ways the same way that adults are. Do you know what I mean? Like, trying to speak to my dad about it is like trying to talk to a wall. It's just like, so it's one of those things.
Well, family's always hard. Yeah, family's always hard to talk to. And all you can do is just keep doing what you're doing and see what happens. That's all you can do. Yeah. I mean, when people see you doing well, I mean, like my family now, just before lockdown, I went for a run around the block because I was full of energy and the gyms were shut. They're open now, thank God. Yes. Well, I went for a run around the block, and then I did it again and again. And now my family have seen me going out for longer and longer periods. And it's like this 53-year-old man is suddenly getting better and better and better at running and going out longer and longer and longer. You know what I mean? I'm buying all the gear and I've got no idea, but I'm still going out there and doing it. You know what I mean? So, but I think that's the only way to because it's no use talking to him because they don't want to know. They've heard your drone voice long enough.
But you know, as well, another thing for me, and this is, I think this is really something. Because I've seen so much slaughterhouse footage. I've been outside the slaughterhouses. I can't be around animal products very much because you know, I get that feeling in my stomach, like my heart's just about to break, and I need to get out that situation. It's like just go to the bathroom and hide in the bathroom till we finish eating or whatever, right? And obviously, not living at home and living in Hong Kong in my own little bubble, I can make this world happen for me. I can go to my vegan restaurants. I can be away from me. Of course, when I'm walking down the street, it gets to me and it upsets me, but that's something that is really out of my control. Whereas where I eat and who I eat with is in my control, right? Yeah. So, you know, even not for them to turn vegan, but for them to support me and understand how it makes me feel as their child. I'm not a child anymore, but how it makes me feel as their kid, being around animal products. I would like them to be able to make more effort. Do you know what I mean? To get to understand me. And my mum does, but my dad is useless. He hasn't seen me for 1.5 years. And I said to him, look, I really want to come home for Christmas this year, but I know I will not enjoy the day if you've got your bloody pigs in blankets, your turkey and all of this on the table. Can you just try and do Christmas Day vegan? That's just a one day. You can do your Boxing Day however you want, whatever, right? But just for me on that day, so I don't have to sort of feel that way. And he said no. My mum was like, yeah, of course. And he said no. And then he spent the whole day in bed. So I said to my mum, I said, I'm so mad at him, like so stubborn.
Listen,
so stubborn.
there's two ways, right? There's a big ignorant northern bastard man who's vegan, or there's a big ignorant northern bastard man who's a meat eater. You ain't going to change them. You know what I mean?
No.
We just it's in our psyche up here. We say what we like and we like what we bloody well say. That's it.
Yeah.
There's no grey areas. That's it.
No,
it goes down. It comes with the territory. It comes with us doing all the shit jobs down the coal mines in the cotton mill. We were grafters, so we don't take no shit. Yeah,
it's one of those things which I always think, I'm like, that can be the way things are for you, and I get it, but you got to make an effort if you want our relationship to be good. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm very stubborn too, so don't get me wrong, I should change my ways as well. But like, to me, I was like, Dad, you were picking turkey over me coming home for Christmas. Just listen to yourself. You're picking a slice of meat over your daughter coming home for Christmas. Hear yourself, you know what I mean? And still,
but the thing is, Shawny, right? The thing is, what he's hearing is you going, stop eating that turkey. Stop eating something that we've been doing for the last 40 years. It's a big tradition. You want me to stop having fun like all the country is? What you do? Do you see what I mean? It's like,
I know exactly what you mean. I've been there. I've been in that mindset as well. And once you change, and as well, because you're such like a vegan is vegans are in a non-dominant group. Do you know what I mean? You need your support, you need your allies, you need your friends, and you need your family to just be aware of you and your comforts. And I just think that isn't a big ask. So it's to me, it's not. I know to him, in his ways, stuck in his ways and stuff, it's a big ask, but it's not acceptable behaviour, and he knows it. So,
yeah.
You know.
Well, you're doing the right finger out of it. Yeah. I mean, vegan Pixie Warrior, it's so sad when your family would rather have animal flesh on the table than you around the table. My family are from the southwest, and they've been the same about my liberation pledge. Is that the one where you will not eat at a table where there's flesh? Is that the really? Yeah, I think it is. The fork around the wrist one.
Yeah.
E-by gum, sorry for the stereotype, I'll put myself in timeout. I think you should Bohemian Bee. That's not funny, taking the mickey out of us northerners. Right, any questions while we babble on about stuff? Any questions out there? Throw them in now. Because poor Shawnee, it's nearly midnight now. I bet it's getting there, isn't it? Nearly midnight.
I usually go to bed at 9, so this is very late for me.
Yeah, very late. So any questions on there now? Bang them on. So what's for the future then? Is that it now? You are Hong Kongonian. What's the official word for a Hong Kong person? What are you?
They actually call themselves Hong Kongers.
They
don't like to be associated with mainland Chinese, so they have to make a point that they're not just Chinese, they're Hong Konger Chinese, so they're Hong Kongers.
Yeah, the Hong Kongers. What activism is there in Hong Kong? I'm assuming vegan.
Yeah, there's everything that you have in the West, basically. So we've got Anonymous for the Voiceless, the Earthlings Experience, the pig vigils, and they did do a chicken vigil once as well. Then there's my thing, Humane Theater, and then just like some protests now and again and stuff. Obviously, it's been really quiet for the past year because of COVID.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, there's pretty much everything that you would get in the West here.
So are you going back to YouTube? I'm Easy Vegan.
Let's see what happens. I want to really take some time out to really think about what my life plan is in that sense. And
can I make a suggestion? Can I make a suggestion?
Go on.
I would I think everybody will agree. So just everyone click yes if you agree with what I'm about to say now, right?
I know what you're going to say.
You don't know what I'm going to say. I would love to see you going in your vegan restaurants and filming what you get and filming the vegan restaurants. And I haven't finished yet. I haven't finished yet. And I'd love to see some vegan action. I'd love to see you if you could film your theatre in schools. There's loads we want to see about it.
Well,
Can't you just do them?
Schools, I have done that and put it
You
on
don't
my channel.
have to. I mean, you don't have to do them all sort of take loads of time on them. Just film it and throw it straight up. We understand, so just throw it up, and it'd be interesting just to see. And I'd like to see some Hong Kong people talking about veganism as well. That'd be cool to listen to as well.
Yeah.
So come on, get off your ass, please. We want to see this. Look, everybody's saying yes now.
I know everyone is. I know. I just can't film outside my house. I just hate the feeling of it. I do. I just feel like everyone's looking at me and they're like,
right,
oh,
listen,
God,
right. Let me give you a tip. Let me give you a tip, right? Get your phone, right?
Right.
Switch it on record. Get a coat with a pocket there, and just walk around with it. Oh, sorry, you can't even see me, can you? Walk around. Get a coat with a pocket.
Yeah.
And just walk around, or just walk around as though you're talking to somebody, and just it's so inconspicuous.
Yeah.
Come on, you know how to do it. You're a northern lass, you're not scared. Come on.
Let's see. I'm enjoying the break. I just let's see. I don't know yet. Maybe I just need a bit of time off YouTube. Maybe that's my thing.
Maybe it is. Well, just now it's in your head, right? Tomorrow when you get up, get your phone, get it ready, make sure you got some memory on it, and just.
But I'm in isolation. I'm inside. I'm stuck inside. Yeah. I've got a paddling pool coming now, which is good.
Have you not got a drone? Have you not got? Can you not buy a drone or something?
No,
Send a drone out.
You know what? All of my videos I make on my phone. All of them. I've never being too fancy wanting to buy all the technology stuff, but you know, we'll see what happens. We'll see. Let's see. I'm reading all my books and catching up with my books at the minute, so I know you don't care, Michelle. You're very strong. You really don't give a crap about what anyone says.
The only reason they look at her is because she's got web fingers and web feet because of the climate up here. That's all. It's the only reason they look at her.
She keeps falling on her ass.
She keeps falling on the floor, wearing shite shoes, cheap shoes.
yeah. But yeah, let's see what happens.
Diverse. Everybody's wants you to do this, mate. They really do. It's really you don't realize how interesting it is. I know it's same old for you right now, but we're so interested to see how because we're in their bubble as well. You know what I mean? We're in this bubble of we don't know. I mean, we hear about the US and how good that is, but it's a big country, US, and it's like vegans are tiny proportion. But something over there would be great. Great to see. The theatre in schools activities you do, is it as an independent theatre company? Do you do it in international schools? These schools have a good budget for art and theatre.
So it's an independent theatre. I founded it three years ago. We would do international schools, but international schools are so hard to get into here. A lot of the local schools, it's so much easier. But we do it for free as well. We usually try and get a bit of funding, like maybe a few £100 from the Pollination Project or the Cedar Change. They usually fund small scale projects. So if anyone has any small scale projects and you need some money, they're really good. They're really good funders. It's only a little bit of money, but it helps. It just helps, right?
Have you never thought of doing a fundraiser in the UK for it? I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people who love to throw a few bob in for you. Why don't you do that on your YouTube?
I really did. I did want to do a tour in the UK schools. I did want to do that, but this year, because of COVID, it sort of just put a stop on everything. With everyone, right? So it's just sort of, but you know what? It gives you so much time to think and reflect, doesn't it? Because I know now that it's I need to go back to the drawing board and just really sort of plan out my ideas and where they're going to head and where they're going to go, so I can come up with a like a plan, a real plan, you know.
Yeah.
And it's difficult as well because I need actors too, and the girls that do it with me, they like work full time too, so you know sometimes this isn't like on a high priority list. They don't get paid for it. I can't just go do one woman show. Well, I could, but I don't know how good that would be. I do like bouncing off other performers, so yeah, it's a little bit tricky in that sense, but we'll just see how it plans out. I've got plenty of time now in the summer to have a think of it, so yeah.
Animal Aid is the one doing it in the UK schools at the moment. If you want to just Google them and see there's some sort of collaboration.
I should definitely have a look because I didn't know that, so I will. I'll have a peek.
The British Council should have grants you can apply to, I think. But also, your problem is if you're going to come over, you've got to be guaranteed, haven't you? Because otherwise, it'd be just time. Would it be a holiday if you did it on, or would it be? Would you have time out?
It would most likely have to be maybe like end of June, so I would only get to do maybe 2 weeks in July before the schools break up. Which is okay. I think that's fine. 2-week tour. We usually did that anyway, so we'd get like 2 schools in a day sometimes, which is manageable, and you know it's doable. But
I mean, if you can hit 10, 20 people who turn totally vegan, you've saved a lot of animals. So it's not a lose situation. It can only be a win situation.
And we've had some great conversations with the students during like the Q&A at the end. And you know they really do care, they really do get it. I mean there's some that don't, but you know a lot of them at least empathize with the animals and what they go through and feel bad for them. But you know just
right. Look, listen, it is now midnight, I think, on your end. I think we should wrap it up there now because the questions have come to a halt. But is there anything you want to say to everybody out here in the UK before we disappear for our tea and you go to beddy byes?
I don't think so.
Everybody's on the edge of the seat waiting for you to give us something positive about this YouTube and about you doing a bit of filming for us anyway. Oh, there's one more question here. Maybe give some thought to organising online performances, as so many schools have moved to e-learning from primary school till diploma years.
Yeah, we did think about that with not doing the vegan related one, but just something to earn some money over summer. But it's just a bit difficult because you've got to put and you'll know this, Danny, being an actor, to put on a show. It takes so much time, and if you only get 1 or 2 kids that sign up, it's just a bit like, oh, was all that effort worth it? Whereas in a school, they're already there. They have to be there. They're being gathered into the hall. Whereas e-learning, from what I'm finding on my online like experience of teaching, is a lot of the kids don't really care. They just sort of put you on mute and play on the games. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's like we could do that. I mean, it's definitely something to think about there. That's for sure.
I mean, I know what you mean. I mean, just to put, let's say, a couple of one play on an hour play in a theatre anywhere, you've got to find all your actors, which ain't easy. Most actors you need are already working, like myself. So you've got to coordinate time offs together, holidays. It's very low paid. And then you've got to produce it. You've got to get everything. You've got to buy all your costume, your scenery. There's travel to think about. There's boarding. There's so much involved in it. And people don't realize what goes on in the background. I mean, Veganville took nearly 15 months from advertising for participants to actually filming. It was over a year.
I liked doing Veganville, by the way.
I loved it.
Yeah, I thought because obviously I think you would reach people that wouldn't usually get reached with the message, right? You're quite real. You're a bit like my dad in some ways, like with your sort of guest
attitude
or whatever. Yeah. So you know, I think it's nice to have someone who's like, do you know what? Let me get you a pint. Sit down. We'll have a chat. And I think sometimes that. Yeah, it does work, especially when you're dealing with people who are northern in Britain, working class sort of jobs. You need to have that realness, don't you? It can't. something down to earth, if that makes sense.
But they really did take a long time to get it together, and they were very careful who they picked, and they did get the demographic perfectly right. But what you're saying about reaching the right people, I was a bit gutted when they told me it was going on BBC iPlayer on New Year's Day, but then it went on to BBC One, and it reached over 2 million people who it went into the rooms. So it wasn't, when it was online, it would have been vegans searching it out. But when it went on national TV, it came to them. So there was like that or University Challenge on BBC Two or something. You know what I mean? So people would have watched it who wouldn't normally have watched it. And I got so much feedback from that from people who were non-vegan and watched that and thought, oh, and they wouldn't have seen it if it had stayed on iPlayer. So we're really lucky. But it takes so long to put something like that together and so long to edit it, because the BBC have got to be impartial. So then they had to even up the arguments all the time. You know, it was like the editing and cutting. But it is. The entertainment industry is a toughie, and it's going to be even more tough now with this social distance and stuff going on. It's going to be a nightmare.
Yeah, people just don't appreciate it as much as they would do other things, right? Even in school, trying to teach drama, teachers sort of look at it as if it's like this subject that's just about messing around or whatever. So yeah, it's one of them.
We'll have this as the last question, because someone else has asked this question as well. What are the class sizes do you teach to? Also, it's better to get out of Hong Kong, as remember we're in lockdown now, so leave while you can. Well, I don't agree with that. I think she's been there long enough to like know what she's doing, mate. But what are the class sizes?
So the class sizes are usually maybe about 30 to 40 kids. But I just want to say, not to make this awkward, Dan, but this YouTuber that's just popped up on your screen, he stalked me for the past 2 years, past year and a half since I've been on YouTube. So I'd appreciate if he didn't watch me or try and talk to me, because he's been sending me some very threatening messages.
This damn magician.
Vegan Ichiiga.
Oh, right, okay.
And he harasses a lot of girls. He did the phlegm face as well, and Celestial Cow. So he just needs to.
Right, I've just blocked him.
He's a bit of a stalker in that sense. And
right, okay. So let's not talk about that. Right. Well, listen, let's wrap it up anyway, because
all right.
I think we're doing it. But listen, thank you so much for coming chatting with me. Stick it out in Hong Kong. Get that video camera out. Stop being such a wuss. Don't get any COVID-19 symptoms, please. Stay in lockdown. Be safe. And and when you come to the UK, give us a shout, and we can meet up face to face and do something a bit more sort of face to face, which is always a bit nicer, isn't it?
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you for having me on. And your questions have been a lot of fun, and I've had a good time, and it's been worth staying up for.
Brilliant. Thank you. Right. See you guys later.
Bye-bye.